Welcome back to Next Chapter, Planning Your Retirement Story. He is Steven Sabo. That's the main host, financial advisor at Executive Financial Group. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull, and Steven and the team are stationed right outside of Pittsburgh, PA, and Butler, Pennsylvania. And you could dial them up, 724-283-2806, or, of course, go to executivefinancialgroup.com. And while you're ferreting around trying to figure out about Executive Financial Group on the internet, remember, they got a Facebook page. They got constant updates on there, good articles and tips in the financial trade. And also you can find episodes of this podcast, not only on Apple and Spotify and some of the podcatchers like we've been telling you about, but also on YouTube as well.
Right.
Can't forget about YouTube. So Steven, with all that good news, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you, Doug. Yeah, I can't complain. I'm, coming in off the week here, off the Super Bowl. So I'm enjoying myself.
For sure. And I know you're a Steelers fan, but the
right.
Lombardi Trophy did come to the Keystone State. So how are you feeling after the blowout win by the Eagles for their second Super Bowl in just a few years?
Yeah, like you said, big Steelers fan. But hey, you know what? I'm pretty happy that it stayed here in Pennsylvania anyway. I like seeing Philadelphia win, especially over Kansas City. I'm getting a little tired of the same team winning over and over again. So it was nice to see the Eagles take it home. And like I said, it's a big win for Pennsylvania, so I'll take that.
Hey, well, we love a big dub, but we could get it, especially in the cold of winter right here.
That's
right. Now, look, our past episodes, most recently, we talked about a fascinating topic that from 2 episodes ago, unclaimed money. And it was just in New York City. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars just left around that people hadn't claimed. And then we also talked about a real touchy topic, but something that applies to everyone, legacy planning. So check those out, past 2 episodes, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and so forth, and on the big podcast tab. It's prominent now on executivefinancialgroup.com. Today, I'm just going to throw this up on the screen, so to speak, metaphorically. Sure. We're talking about the golden age of fixed income and why annuities and the like are beneficial. I want to play something from someone that you aren't used to hearing talk about the annuity topic, and that's the big fella. Have a listen.
I used to see this rich guy, really rich, older, 80, old Rolls Royce, and I asked him, I said, how? And he taught me a word I never heard. You're in Shaq, you need to invest in an annuity. And I never knew what it was. And I looked it up because I was making so much money from commercials and all, I didn't know what to do with it. And he's like, yeah, all this money you're making, if you put it away, you can invest it and you can start collecting at 50, 60, and 70. So that was my greatest investment.
Shaquille O'Neal talking about annuities, all right? You didn't think you'd see those intersect, okay? So we've heard, and we've even talked about before the importance of annuities, Stephen, but why is this maybe a better time than a lot of times recently anyway to actually think your finances should go that way?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, it really has to do with the interest rates. Prior to 2022, basically since, the financial crisis in 2008, we saw pretty dismal fixed interest rates on those types of products. Anything at your bank, CDs, money markets, things like that, they were low. And same with annuities. They were super low. And so, a lot of people looked outside of there. They looked to the markets, which were booming. So it was hard to justify taking maybe 1% or 2% in something whenever you could get into the market and make a whole, bunch of money. But once 2022 hit and they started raising interest rates to combat inflation, these things started coming back into the picture, and they really started being, people are afraid of the stock market naturally. It fluctuates. You can lose money in them, where something like this, you can put it in there, earn a guaranteed fixed rate and not have to worry about those fluctuations. And people tend to like those things. And so, now with bank rates and everything like that coming back, and annuities, CDs, all this stuff, it really is a great time to kind of look at this and say, it's almost like mortgages in a way. Whenever mortgages go low, you refinance, right? So if you had a 7% mortgage rate and all of a sudden now mortgage rates are way down and they're at 2% like they had been for a long time, you were going to refinance. So this is kind of the opposite, where now mortgage rates are up high. So you might not be looking to get into a mortgage, but fixed rates are also up pretty high. And so it's a double-edged sword with fixed rates, but it's a good time to get into something and lock in a good rate. We see a lot of people chasing around rates at the banks and stuff like that, constantly switching and trying to get a better rate and moving from place to place. Well, you don't necessarily have to do that. You can find a nice interest rate in an annuity product and lock it in 3 years, 5 years. You can go longer than that if you want, of course, but everybody's a little bit different, and we don't always, encourage people to, you don't want to lock something up for 30 years, 20 years, something like that if you don't have to. But, take advantage of it while it's here. We could be seeing rates go down in the near future. I don't know that they're going to go back down to 1%, 0.5% anytime soon, but why not take advantage of a good rate while you can?
Well, for sure. Are there now, and we know annuities is basically, especially the fixed index type, it's where you take a large amount of money, and it's basically where the principal is protected, and
That's
then
right.
you're just getting a certain amount of gain or not. And right now, because the interest rate is higher, you're getting more gain than you would have, say, 7 to 10 years ago. That's basically right?
Yeah, I mean, and then the one of the good things with annuities too is depending on what type of account it is. Say if it's a non-qualified account, right? This is just money that was sitting in a bank savings account. Well, each year you're paying taxes on the interest that is in there, whether you use that money or not. In an annuity, you can put the money in, you could still earn a good rate like you would in a CD or a money market or something like that, but you also get to defer the taxes until you actually start taking that money back out of there. So that's a great thing for people, because a lot of the times, again, we see it all the time here. People are afraid of the market, so they have money sitting on the side, they have it sitting in the bank, but they're not using it, and they're getting crushed in taxes because they're earning decent interest on it, but they aren't using it. And it's like, well, why go through all that if you could defer the taxes and put that off until you actually use the money? And so we encourage it a lot of the time. If people have this money sitting on the sidelines, they don't know what to do with it, they're shopping it around. One of the things about fixed interest rates is at the bank is sometimes they don't last that long. It might be 15-month CD, it might be a 12-month, something like that. And then you have to do something with it, or it might automatically renew into a much lower rate. We typically see that at banks. You have a 12-month CD, and at the end of that 12 months, normally what happens is they give you about 10 days to make a decision. Do I want to renew it? Do I want to move it? And by the time that you get the letter in the mail, it's already 7 days in. So if you don't move it, and then all of a sudden now they lock in for another 12 months at a much lower rate, it can really hurt people. So we're reaching out to clients all the time right now and saying, hey, look, you have this old CD, you have an old annuity, you talked about all this money sitting in a bank that you didn't know what to do with. Now is a great time, like you said, the golden age. I mean, obviously, if you look back in history, I was not in the business back in the late 80s or anything like that, but my dad talks about it all the time, where you could go to the bank and get a CD that was paying 10 or 12%. We aren't seeing any of that, but, we are compared to 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we're certainly in the golden age of fixed income, because, now rates are back up, much better than, say, 1%, 0.5%, anything like that. So it's a good time to at least look at it. And can we do some refinancing on your fixed income stuff?
You compared annuities to CDs and
Yep.
such. Are there other fixed income accounts that are part of this golden age besides those fixed index annuities?
Sure. Yeah. Bonds are a fixed income product. The rates on bonds, whenever rates go up, that's a good thing on bonds. So bonds are another thing. We caution people, not caution people. I shouldn't say we caution. Bonds are useful, but you can technically lose some principal in a bond if you had to get out of it, and rates had gone up, and you had one that was at a lower rate. So they work in an inverse relationship. So, bonds are certainly one, but annuities are a big one. CDs, like I said, money market accounts, savings accounts, you see all those things that are tied to fixed interest rates. And, so right now it's a decent time to be looking at those and saying, hey, can I change a few things around? Can I get a better interest rate? Can I get a different bond? Can I get a different, annuity, a CD, whatever the case is? You got to be proactive. And so we're always calling our clients and saying, hey, look, we know you had these things. Now's a good time. Let's see if we can make some changes.
Well, and I think that's what you lead us right into a great thing, because you can't just sit stagnant and have your money fall out of a tree.
That's right.
You've got to have somebody to help you tune on it, just like you take your car in for an oil change every 3 or 5,000 miles, whatever is specified. You can't just leave it there because the market does change. Your needs change. Inflation changes. All of that, many more factors. So that means you need somebody to help guide you through, or it's highly recommended you do. So if someone's hearing this, they're like, hey, I want Steven Sabo and Executive Financial Group to talk to me more about either these type of fixed income accounts and why this may be the golden age of those and how to get into it, or other aspects of finance and retirement. How do they start this conversation? What can you do for them?
Give us a call. That's the first step. Pick up the phone, give us a call, shoot me an email, go to our website. You can enter in information on there, but, reach out to us and say, hey, Steven, you know what? I heard you talking on your podcast and I have these old accounts and life is busy. And so I don't really pay attention to them that much, but I heard you talking about interest rates being up. Is there anything that we can do? Come on in. Let's set up an appointment. Let's see what you have. Bring in your documents. Let me take a look and we could see, can we make some changes? And, more often than not, we find out that there's something in there somewhere that we can do better for you on. And so, it doesn't hurt. And the worst thing that happens is we say, hey, you know what? You guys are in a perfect spot. There's nothing that you need to change, and continue doing what you're doing. We're going to be here for you regardless, whatever kind of questions you have, but now's a great time to see, is there anything better out there? And we'd love to take a look at it for you and sit down with you and say, let's start there, but let's look at all aspects. Let's look at all aspects of your financial plan. Maybe we, build you an income plan. Maybe we help you retire. Maybe we have some money in the market, depending on what we're trying to accomplish, we can look at all these things. But the first step is give us a call, shoot me an email, pick up the phone, and say, hey, Steven, I heard you on the podcast. And I'd love to sit down and see if there was something that you could do for us.
Well, and by the way, if you do hear about Steven Sabo and Executive Financial Group through this podcast, let us know. This is something we're trying to grow and get more word out there. By the way, if you benefit from this, or you think, man, my mom needs to hear this, or my sister, or whoever, send them the link. All right, we're always trying to make sure people know what's in the lexicon there, and pay it forward, right? If you're doing well with something like this, make sure other people know about that, right, Steven? I know that you're getting more and more clients there, and they need to tell people.
Yeah, please do share it around. There's, again, even if you aren't going to come to and see me, if you could pick up a little bit of knowledge from this, at the end of the day, I'm happy with that. I'd love for you guys to come in, sit down, see how we can help you. But, the more that I can help people out there, the better that I'm doing my job. So share it to your friends, share it to your family, let your parents know about it, let anybody know about it. We'd love for you to sit down and listen to us and hear this voice of mine.
All about, that's right. Great voice of yours. In fact, it's all about helping each other. So start the conversation, start the process. If you haven't made that financial or retirement plan, you don't want yourself to outlive your income, right?
That's
so go
right.
to executivefinancialgroup.com or dial them up 724-283-2806. Well, Steven, thanks for spending time today just explaining why this is actually a great time for fixed income, and why, annuities have had a bad rap in past eras, okay, and why that's changed a little bit. So I appreciate you walking us through that.
No, I appreciate it, Doug. Thank you. This is an important topic, and like you said, things get a bad rap over time, but hey, time changes stuff like that, and it's our job as a financial advisor to sit down and explain the good and the bad of all these things out there. So come on in, sit down, let us explain if it's right for you or not.
And look, I don't know if Taylor Swift's in her annuities era, but we might be in the annuities era for sure. So
that's right.
Check it out. Learn some more about it. ExecutiveFinancialGroup.com. This Steelers fan over here, Steven Sabo, is tired of hearing about Taylor Swift. And
I am
bringing it up again. Okay.
That's right.
But
yeah.
Anyway, check them out. Now say the number one more time, 724-283-2806. Thanks so much to our producer, Daniel Salerson, for getting this thing published, edited, polished, and put out the show. And to all of you for listening. He is Steven Sabo, financial advisor at Executive Financial Group, and you've been listening to Next Chapter, Planning Your Retirement Story. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Thanks a lot, Doug. Take care.
The opinions expressed by Stephen Sabo and guests on this podcast are their own and do not reflect the opinions of this podcast station. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. Investments involve risk and unless otherwise stated are not guaranteed. Past performance cannot be used as an indicator to determine future results. Any strategies mentioned may not be suitable for everyone. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for you. Before acting on any information mentioned, please consult with a qualified tax or investment advisor to determine if it is suitable for your specific situation. This program is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information with regard to subject covered. Investment advisory services offered through Virtue Capital Management, LLC, VCM, a registered investment advisor. VCM and Executive Financial Group are independent of each other. Pennsylvania Insurance License number 670429. Any guarantees mentioned are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company and may be subject to caps, restrictions, fees, and surrender charges as described in the annuity contract. Stephen Sabo and/or Executive Financial Group are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.